Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Budget Savvy Wedding Planner and Organizer. This is a book by Jessica Bishop. It has checklists, worksheets, essential tools to plan the perfect wedding on a small budget. So I have been married for about a year and a half now, and I did a review on one of my favorite books, which is Everything a Bride Should Know. I'll link that in the description. And this is just another one of the books that was really helpful when I got married, so I wanted to share it with some future brides. I'm not going to share everything in here because one, I don't think that is fair to the author. If I were just to share everything, obviously they worked hard on this, and two, if I were to share every single thing in this book, it would take us probably like hours and hours and hours. So I'm just gonna share what I found most helpful for me, and hopefully you will find some helpful tips as well, or hopefully if you really like what I have to say, then you'll go pick up the book as well. So let's open her up and get started. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read the table of contents to you so that you know what all's in here. So number 1 is the vision, chapter 2 is the budget, chapter 3 is the guest list, chapter 4 is the venue, chapter 5 is invites, chapter 6 is wedding day look, chapter 7 is wedding party, chapter 8 is photography, music, food, cake, and more, chapter 9 is decor, rentals, flowers, and favors, chapter 10 is the other parties, 11 is accommodations, transportation, and more, 12 is the big day, and 13 is the honeymoon. So I'm gonna get started, and we're gonna start in order from the introduction, and I'm going to read you just like parts I've highlighted or filled out, and we'll go from there. So it says we had other priorities including purchasing our first home, traveling, and building our savings. So this was very applicable to me. My husband and I bought our first home literally about a month before we got married. So we had that going on, like buying a house while having a wedding. So that's why this book came in handy. And so in the introduction, it just talks about that, which stood out to me. And then also a helpful website was the Budget Savvy Bride. So they do have a website as well if you guys want to check that out. So I did have that highlighted. All right, chapter 1, the vision. So they were suggesting to focus on the overall vision of the wedding first, tackling big ideas. So size of the wedding, always do your guest list first, because anywhere you go for wedding planning, they're always going to say, well, how many people? Because you can't order food without a head count. A venue, if they don't accommodate that number, you can't know that without a head count, etc., etc. So always do that first. Then you want to know the settings, so where, time, and place. Then comes the style, depending on, of course, the place. That is a big thing to consider when you're considering style, and then the rest kind of falls in after that. The kind of vibe you want, and then the timeline. These 5 points will be the biggest determination factors of your wedding budget and will give you an overall framework to build on. So then it had a worksheet for your vision. So I'm just going to show you what my vision looked like. So size was large party. The other options were mid-size bash or small gathering. The setting, indoor, outdoor, I wanted both, and that was also an option, so I selected both. Season, so there was winter, spring, summer, fall, I selected fall. And then ideal wedding venues. I'm just gonna read to you, because there's a lot of options, I'm gonna read to you what my ideal wedding venue was, some options. So ballroom or barn, I know 2 different, but those were the options. A bed and breakfast, a country club, desert vibes. I live in a desert, so I wanted that kind of vibe as well to take into consideration. Or an event venue, farm, garden, a golf course, a hotel, a ranch, or a resort. And I eventually ended up going with the event venue, but it was highlighted here. So that was one of my options. Personal style, classic, and I'm just reading you mine because there's way more options. Classic, DIY, elegant, glamorous, romantic, and rustic. And then fill in the blanks, where you live now, where your partner's hometown is, where my hometown is, and then where we met, and then any other places significant to our relationship also help you kind of find the place. So it had me fill that part in as well. All right, next we are doing, the next page is identifying priorities. So then this kind of helps you figure out what you want to spend your money on. So priorities were, the couple, start with ones you're most excited about. So wedding rings, and I'm just gonna go over mine for this because there's a lot of options. Shoes, socks, label pin, wedding suit or tuxedo, wedding dress. For bridesmaids, shoes, gifts, and bridesmaids dresses were my top priority. For groomsmen, suits and tuxedo, ties, shoes, and socks. For flower girls would be flower girl dress, the jewelry, and the basket. For ring bearer, the outfit and the like pillow or box or whatever. And then ushers, the only thing that I was like, my big concern was their attire. I needed to think about what they were gonna wear. Traditions, so we did standard vows and self-written vows. We did self-written vows on our own that we told each other right before the ceremony, and then traditional vows in front of people. Miscellaneous, so things that we needed to get done: marriage license, officiant, and guest book. Music, I wanted special songs played pretty much only. For florals, it was important to me to have bridal bouquets, bridesmaid bouquets, boutonniere, and then miscellaneous florals like throughout. For beverages, I selected all of them. I wanted all the options. So we did have a cocktail hour. We did not have an open bar. We did have wine and beer, non-alcoholic beverages, and we did have a champagne toast. Rental equipment, things that I felt like I had to rent, or decor, I did end up renting. I do have on here a tent, but we didn't end up renting one of those. And then lighting, and I didn't end up renting that either. Food, I wanted, my top priorities were a wedding cake, buffet style meal, appetizers, or a full service meal. I was debating between the two. We went with like buffet style. And then entertainment, dance party was my only thing that I selected on that list. Traditions, receiving line, which we did do. Wedding party intro, we did. Couples intro, first dance, dances with parents, toasts and speeches, cake cutting, and grand exit. We did all of those. Table and seating, dinner tables were a top priority for me. Chairs, centerpieces, flatware, linens, and a seating chart, which I then realized when trying to make a seating chart that was not going to be possible for me. So I did not end up doing that, but I did try. Transportation, I selected limo, but we just did getaway car, which is another option on here. Paper goods, I selected save the dates, invitations, and thank you cards were my top things. Type of wedding, I said I wanted a daytime and like nighttime, like an evening to nighttime wedding. A local wedding, I wanted it to be here where most of the people that we know live. An indoor and outdoor, I wanted both. I did not end up getting both, but I did want both due to the weather. We had to move it inside. So, and large guest list. Wedding vendors and services, I selected photographer was my top priority, videographer, caterer, baker, florist, hair and makeup, and musician. I did not have a day of coordinator, which was the only other option, which I did not select. Accommodations, night before the wedding and wedding night. I actually didn't end up doing any accommodations for my guests. Pre and post wedding, rehearsal dinner was a must. I did also do a day after brunch, but we ended up prioritizing rehearsal dinner, so we didn't do a day after brunch. All right. Then I had you do like more worksheets, like there were like checklists and stuff, but I'm gonna skip that for now. And we're gonna move on to budget, which is chapter 2. Things I highlighted. Open up a new joint bank account to house your wedding funds and set up a savings plan. So we didn't end up doing this around when we bought our house because we did need to have an account linked for where money was going to be taken out of for house payments and things like that and bills. So we ended up doing that right before the wedding, not necessarily for a wedding fund. What we ended up doing was cash stuffing, where we had like envelopes with numbers. So we ended up going that route. Use a service like Mint or a website and phone app. I don't think I really ended up doing that for budgeting. Monthly income, it had us take both of our incomes, what 50% of living essentials is, 20% financial goals, and 30% expenses, and we mapped all that out. I'm not going to share that just due to personal reasons. Oh, one thing that I can show you is it did have really cool charts here. breaking up different costs. And so you can pause to read. I don't know how clear it's going to be for you guys, but you can kind of pause to read those. But these were insightful. Okay, so that was pretty much all I did for budget. Now moving on to chapter 3, the guest list. I didn't use this because I had a spreadsheet, so I didn't use any of this. It had where you can like write in partner's guests and your guests, but I didn't use that. All right, next up, chapter 4, the venue. I also didn't use that because I had a whole wedding planning book. I bought this more for the budget saving tips, not for the wedding planning part. So I didn't use that part because I had a whole separate book for that, and I'm happy to share that with you guys if you guys want that. Sorry guys, I am just getting over being sick, so bear with me. All right, what to include on wedding website. Things that I checked off that I wanted to include were photos of us, our names, wedding date, time, and location, schedule of events, registry, love story, frequently asked questions, points of interest in the area, which I didn't end up putting, and information about bridal party. I also didn't end up putting that either. Let's see, save the dates. This was just another checklist, like couples names, like make sure you have that, the date and the city it's gonna be in, a note that the invitation will follow, things like that. All right, your wedding day look. We're on chapter 6. I didn't use any of this because oh wait, I guess I did. Okay, so it did have me fill in like the dress, like my shop name, fitting date, the price, and alteration price. Okay, so I filled in that part since it was about pricing, but that was it. Accessories, I filled that in due to pricing. All right, next up is the wedding party. Again, didn't really pay for any of that stuff. All right, next we had selecting a photographer. So here's the checklist that it gave. And actually, for those of you that don't know, if you're new to my channel and stuff, I am a professional wedding photographer, so I already knew everything I wanted, but I did like reading some tips that I just never thought of before, so I am gonna read to you guys. So do initial research, which obviously confirm pricing, book a meeting, sign contracts, schedule engagement photos, create a shot list, discuss logistics and timeline, and pay final balance. All of that is super familiar to me, so that was easy, but it did have me break down cost as well, but I'm not going to share that again due to privacy reasons. But it'll have you fill out like the winner, like who you selected, and it'll have you do studio name, photographer name, phone number, email, website, package details, the total cost, deposit amount, and then the date of that, and then the balance amount and the due date of that. So that's good. And then you creating a shot list, which is awesome. As a photographer, this is amazing. I'm just gonna show it to you. This is everything I would have done as well. So as like coming from a professional photographer, in this book specifically, the checklist and the details it has in the photographer is A1, chef's kiss. I highly recommend. All right, ceremony songs. I had a place for that. I wanted to try to keep it to only showing like budget stuff with you guys. Here we go. All right, choosing a caterer, same kind of process. It has a checklist and then the cost down. So I'll just read you this checklist. Think about the foods you'd like, schedule a meeting, get firm idea on cost, make a decision, schedule a tasting, confirm delivery, and pay final balance. So then it has the name, primary contact, phone number, email, website, package detail, total cost, deposit amount, and due date, and then balance amount and due date. Oh my goodness, I need to drink some water. Okay, all right, next we're on to florals. I didn't have anything written, I guess, in florals. All right, other parties, also didn't do anything on that. And didn't do anything on honeymoon because I had a whole separate book for that as well. So that is everything I got from here. I highly recommend. I feel like what I've said and stuff, like I didn't say much, but honestly, like if you don't have a wedding planning book, this one's pretty good. I really, really, really recommend. I really liked it. I can't say honestly anything bad about it. I had a lot of different books though, so that's just why you're not getting a lot from me with this one. My other book that I reviewed, Everything a Bride Should Know, had so much information. I think I had to make 2 videos because that one, even to just share with you what I was highlighting, it was a lot. There were so many good tips. Every book I bought, I did research. I went to Barnes & Noble and opened them up and looked at them. I did not order anything on Amazon that I could not preview. So every book that I got for wedding planning was intentional. and I knew that I would use it for whatever purpose it had. So I had one for budgeting, I had one for things that I should know as a bride, I had one for actual planning, I had one for the honeymoon, everything like that. And so that's why I just want to share like all the options with you guys, because weddings are such a big deal and a lot of planning goes into them. So especially as someone who planned her own wedding, I did not have a wedding planner, or like I said, I didn't even have a day of coordinator. I did all of it with the help of these books. I highly recommend. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it was a little shorter than I anticipated, but I hope that you found some tips, and honestly I really recommend this. I hope that you'll at the very least go to Barnes & Noble, open it up, flip through it, and see if it's for you. All right, thank you guys, have a good day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.